to have a lot of monastics.
In Upper Hamlet, and the sound is quite different. So at the end of the phrase, please listen for the violin to come to the right pitch.
Dear respected teachers, dear sisters, dear brothers, dear friends, welcome to our afternoon, evening, day of practice together. We will begin our first event by the practice of invoking the energy of compassion, represented by Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara represents the ability to be present, the ability to listen, and the ability to connect to suffering. In the teachings of the Buddha, one of the elements of love, of compassion, it is to understand. Understand what? First of all, is understanding our suffering. So in this moment, we can allow ourselves to be present, allow ourselves to feel whatever that is here. We allow ourselves to be in touch with what is happening inside of us and identify it. Maybe it is a feeling of joy, maybe it's a feeling of community, the feeling of stillness that we allow ourselves to touch. This practice is very crucial in order to embrace what is present. Breathing in, I allow myself to be here. Breathing out, I establish myself in the here and now. Whatever feelings is present, I hold, I embrace. Allowing ourselves to feel is allowing ourselves to be present. Feeling to heal. And with the insight of interbeing, we know that the feeling of compassion is not just for ourselves, but compassion can be forward to, sent to our beloved ones, our friends, our family, those who cannot be present here. But because you are here, you represent them. We can become aware of them in this moment. We can call their name in our minds, in our hearts. by holding their presence with each breath. We allow them to be present through our mindfulness. And what is happening in the world, the injustice, the killing, the pain, the wars, it is not exactly outside of us, because we interbe with everything that is existing. We can also hold and feel that pain and allow our compassion to be here, to embrace, to witness. And we can send this compassion, this mindfulness to these places that are suffering, that needs this compassion and love. So when the monastics will be invoking the Bodhisattva's name, it is not a performance, but it is a practice like a prayer. In the first practice, we bring that understanding and that compassion towards ourselves. Allow ourselves to learn to love ourselves, to hold ourselves tenderly, to know that we are a continuation of our ancestors, our parents. And we can transform for our parents. We can embrace for our parents. And as we continue to practice, we send this energy to our loved ones that are around us, beside us. And as we continue to practice embracing, we send this collective energy to the places that are in suffering. Humans, but also beyond humans, to the environment, the trees, the droughts. So in this moment of practice, we connect to the past, to the present, and we are cultivating the future. So let us collectively embrace, allow ourselves to be here, allow ourselves to feel, and generate this energy of collective mindfulness, compassion, and we send it to ourselves, our loved ones, and all the places that needs this energy. I would like to invite our monastic siblings to stand up and prepare for the chanting. And before we begin, if our friends, you won't need translation for the chanting, if we can allow ourselves to be seated so that we collectively can have this stillness together, have this concentration. And we are very grateful for all of the friends that are joining us online today. So welcome to this space. We also invite you to connect to your breathing and be one with the community that is present in Plum Village. Hello, one. Hello, dear Sangha. To support the sound team, um, if we can help put our cell phones on airplane mode, because all the signals are interfering with the Dharma. the, the signal inside, the signal outside. And dear friends, before we begin our session of this Dharma Talk, I would like to invite all of us to stand up together. Also our friends at home, we'll just do some mindful movement to move the body a little bit so we can continue to enjoy being in the hall together. I'd like to invite us to put our hands on our abdomen, our stomach, and allow ourselves to feel the rising and the falling of our tummy as we breathe in and out. Breathing in, our tummy is rising. Breathing out, our tummy is falling. Feel the in-breath. Feel the out-breath. With the next in-breath, we'll raise our arms to our shoulder width, breathing in. mindfully aware of the movement and stretch out. Breathing out, release. Release any tensions that are there. In. Out. Breathing in. And breathing out. With the next breath, we'll raise our arms to the sky, breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in, stretch as high as you can, giving your lower back that stretch also. Breathing out, release. One more time, in. And out. I'd like to invite us to interlock our arms to this. Breathing in, I'm going to go to my left, which is your right. Breathing in. Back to center, breathing out. In. Out. Again. Breathing in as far as you can go. Breathing out. One more time. Release. One more. Okay, for our legs. We put our heels, legs like a V, either close or a little bit wide. We're gonna raise up on our toes with our in-breath, and as we breathe out, we'll go as low as we can, keeping our back upright, a little bit of like a squat. This is not a competition, so be kind to yourself. Do what is most comfortable. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and out. In and out. 2 more times for our ancestors. One more. Let us feel our breathing again. Just feel the in-breath and the out-breath. Don't think about it. Just let the breathing do the breathing. And us just present. Can feel my heart beat. Can feel the warmth in the body. Thank you, dear Sangha. Let us sit back down. Are we okay with the translation? Okay. In in 2009, Upper Hamlet meditation hall was only half of the size, and I felt that more people were coming to Plum Village to practice, and we needed to extend our hall. And now, many years later, the hall is fully packed, and maybe one day we need to extend one more time. Feel I can feel the joy, I can feel the warmth that is present in the hall. Let's listen to sound of the bell together and connect to our breathing, connect to the collective community that is here. Dear community, today is December the 31st in the year 2024. In just a few more hours, collectively we will be welcoming 2025. And we are in the Dharma Cloud Temple. And it really feels like today we are in the clouds. A cloud never dies. And I really am acknowledging, I feel the presence of our teacher that is present with the community. He always said that if we ever want to feel his practice and feel his energy, all we have to do is be mindful of our breathing, be mindful of our presence, and he manifests through us, not outside of us, but through us. As I was preparing for this talk, it's always really hard to know what to offer, but one story came up that really stays with me. When Thay was residing in the Upper Hamlet during the Rains Retreat, from time to time, he would roam around the hamlet without a schedule. So there are formal practices that we know we will see him, and we are prepared to be in his presence. But from time to time, he would just roam around the monastery, and if by chance he's in your presence, I think the first reaction is, oh, Thay's here. Be mindful. And it's very interesting to see what we create in our own perception and in our expectation. And from time to time, Thay, as a teacher, but he would put on his Zen master jacket, and he would ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing? And if you tell Thay, I'm chopping the carrots, he would say, Thay has eyes, he can see that. What are you doing? Oh, I'm sweeping the grounds. Duh, I can see that. What are you doing? It's a very deep question. he would share with us that when he asked this question, he would expect us to answer, Thay, I am enjoying my breathing. Or Thay, I am living deeply in this present moment. Or he even said, just look at him and smile. And he will know that is a smile of dwelling in the present moment. And recently, for myself, I've been hearing his voice. And from time to time, he would go, cuckoo, cuckoo, are you there? Like a bell of mindfulness. And I would hear him go, cuckoo, Phapu, what are you doing? And it would catch me off guard. And I would say, I'm doing work for the Sangha. Very important. And when I catch myself answering like this, I check in with myself what is really present in that moment. And a lot of the times it is the moment of looking for recognition, maybe a feeling of loneliness that is present, and trying to be of service because I need to be seen, I need to be loved. But that cuckoo and that what are you doing, it reminds me and it encourages me, are you living deeply this moment? Are you being alive in this very moment? It's a very simple question. It's a very simple contemplation. But most of the time, I find myself projecting towards the future, into the accomplishment of things that I need to do, a list of things that I need to do. And I think as the new year approaches, there is this collective consciousness together that we are trying to examine ourselves, to look at all the errors of this year, to see what we haven't been able to do, to see what are the shortcomings that we need to fix. And this is a collective consciousness together. And I think right away we are directing an energy of we gotta fix ourselves. There's something to fix. And when we write down our resolution or our intention, I don't know if you've done it yet, but my paper is still blank. I still have a few hours. Because I was recognizing that I was just trying to outdo myself in this present moment. And I was asking, where is this energy coming from that I'm projecting tomorrow, 2025, that I want to outdo this moment? So I invite us to collectively allow ourselves to recognize in this present moment, what are some of the flowers that we have been able to cultivate this year? Some of the flowers that we have been able to offer to ourselves, to our loved ones. We got to go against the stream. That's part of Zen. We recognize what are the energies pushing us away from this moment and allow ourselves to just feel in this moment, in this being, you, me, what is there that I can honor, I can smile to? Any brave soul was able to recognize what they were able to honor this year, we can just say it out. Listening, courage, resilience, loving kindness, rest, joy, siblinghood, curiosity, freedom, patience, deeper understanding. Is that correct? Deeper understanding. What was that? Being. That's the whole Dharma talk right there. We can end with 3 sounds of bell. But that is where I was going to. The art of being. How can we be more alive? Alive in this present moment. When we look at time, we know that time is constructed by our consciousness, but what we see the moving of present becoming the past, but present becoming the future. And for us to truly only live this moment is when we can be in touch and be present. And recently, in a conversation that I had with a friend, one of my friends asked me, Phap, if you were to go back to the past, what would you do differently? Many things. But one thing that I can answer today is that I would have lived deeper the moments I had with the people around me. Because so many times we are aware of the teachings of impermanence. We know everything is of that nature. Everything we love and we hold dear, one day we have to say goodbye. We know that as an intellectual notion or as an insight. But to really be able to live deeply and acknowledge what we have in this moment, it really is a cultivation and a deep practice. Because I always believed that there was those who I was very close to, that we would continuously be together on this path. And causes and conditions have allowed us and made us be in different places, in different paths, in different directions. And there are so many relationships that I've had that I wasn't able to truly honor with all of my presence, with all of my capacity to be there for. And even the acknowledgement that when someone is not there, we will miss them deeply. And I've always had this this belief that we will always be together. Especially in the Plum Village community, we always say we go as a river, which is true. And that is a cultivation, that is like a prayer that we offer each day to touch interbeing and to touch oneness with the many. But in the stream of life, some drops of water will exit sooner than we wish for and that we want. And I've experienced so many moments of saying goodbye, of letting go. And in the letting go, There is the longing, the wish that it can be different. But at the same time, I have to honor that in this moment, we have to say goodbye. And when I reflect on it and I ask myself, was I really able to live each moment as the best I can with some of my most beloved? Not fully. And as I was reflecting in this coming year, 2025, what is it that I want to continue to aspire to? And that is, I just want to aspire to not forget how precious it is to have the conditions that are present for me. And I think each and every one of us, we can acknowledge that there are conditions that are present for us that are a gift, that is a gem. Whether that is having a home to come to, a place, a refuge, someone who we truly love that is still there, or a tree that is still present for us every day, offering its best quality to us. And us to others. We are also a condition of love and happiness and joy to those that are around us. But do we remember this? And do we honor giving our loved ones our presence, our smile? So as I was reflecting at the idea of resolutions, I see that for me, it was very helpful. I wanted to change that word. Because resolution is like to fix something. And it is so often, I feel even as a monk, I'm always trying to fix myself. And trying to fix myself is like I'm not happy with myself. And I invite all of us to just, let's try to unlearn that a little bit. Yes, there are qualities in us that we have inherited from our parents, from our loved ones, from society, that we can be responsible for, to being mindful of habits that create suffering, that we can be aware of and transform. But we also offer our own being the curiosity it has. Where does this pain come from? Where does this suffering come from? Where does this kind of thinking come from? Offer it a little bit of curiosity instead of, oh, I'm going to change. You are the reason why I suffer. And I'm sure that we do this to us, maybe on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. And this kind of intention of the practice of meditation is to fix. Come to Plum Village in one sample and leave the sample. And if you feel that you've come through and you are not another person, we may think that we have failed. But this idea is very dualistic. We're not threading in the moments of being with the uncomfortable feelings that may arise every day. And just knowing that, my loneliness, you're here. It's unpleasant, but I'm not going to run away from it. And I'm just going to welcome it in this being of awareness. And this change begins with the awareness. And that awareness also embraces acceptance. Accepting what is there. Acknowledging, accepting. And by accepting, we give it an opportunity to be in the present moment with the now you. Not the you of yesterday, the you that was abandoned, the you that was hurt. Because that is still present. And the new you in this moment of accepting, of being, giving yourself the information that in this moment, I can recognize you. I can be with you. I can be with this feeling. And I can invite it to be present in my body, using mindfulness, whether we can imagine like our hands as the tender love of attention and place where that pain is, where that feeling is, and allowing ourselves to be deeper in this moment. So in this practice of mindfulness, it is to cultivate our presence so that we can be more alive. And to be more alive, we can hold, we can embrace, and we can be there for whatever it is that we need to tend to, that we need to care for. We are like a garden. And inside of our garden, there are many qualities, there are many seeds, there are many plants. And depending on the conditions around us, they are the rain that nurture these seeds inside of us. And sometimes we gotta close the door. We gotta shelter our garden a little bit, not allowing it to get more water, nutriments of whatever sources is coming from. And just to see what is present. And identify in the garden where the flowers, where the weeds, where the borders, where the boundaries that we need to create to protect. Where the compost. A good gardener is not afraid of the compost. Where's the compost that allows us to have a deeper understanding, to nurture our field, our flowers, our trees. And sometimes some weeds are very good. Did you know that nettle can be very nutritious for us? Apparently a lot of iron. And even though if you touch it and it stings you and there's pain, but not exactly that it is not good for you. So in our own garden, as we have the opportunity to tend to, hopefully in this retreat, we allow ourselves some time to look at our garden and to recognize where there are places in the soil that need some tending to. Where there's enough compost, we say, you smell it enough. Let's give it some space, give it some time, let's air it out. And slowly we'll take care of it. And then we can also acknowledge some places that there are so many flowers there. And we can also be in the garden of the flowers and to smell and to enjoy the gift of the flowers. By nature, we are more attracted to compost. And I know this because I always remember the bad feedbacks. The feedbacks that the podcast was not good enough. And I'm smiling at you, Joe. And I was with a friend in this retreat, and we were talking about how to take care of ego and pride. And right away, very naturally, I went to all the negatives. Ooh, these are things that has been very heavy. And these are some of the feedback that I'm acknowledging some of my habitual way of speaking leads towards. And then there are some habits that when I hear one feedback, I go down a whole rabbit hole of all the bad things that I am aware of that I want to transform. And then this friend just stopped me. He's like, brother, can you remember a good feedback? And I said, yeah, I'm sure I read a few, but I can't remember one good feedback, word per word, but I can recite the negative feedback, word per word. And this friend, without knowing, was a teacher in that moment to me. Isn't it interesting how we are so attracted to the things that makes us feel less than? And what does that speak of to our collective culture together? And what that speaks of, it speaks about this ideal of perfection. This ideal that we are not enough. This ideal that we have to build something today for tomorrow so that we can be happy. And each and every one of us have built that pathway in our neural pathway, in our thinking. And without knowing, sometimes that energy drags us in our way of being, in our tone of voice, in our way of being with our loved ones. I had a younger brother, and he shared to me his first time back to Ireland as a monk was very challenging. But he practiced his best to offer his presence. And he said, Phap, you know, the most interesting thing that I remember was when I was with my friends, everybody just talked about themselves. And not one person asked me, how was my monk's life? Because I had a lot to say. I was also looking for a place to dump it all. But he also acknowledged that, oh my goodness, in our society, not many of us have the capacity to listen to each other, to offer our presence. And I said, and maybe because they felt you were so present with them, it's the first time they were able to just tell them about you. So one of the qualities that I feel we can all set this intention collectively, not as an individual, but as a collective community in this present moment, is cultivate the quality of listening. And we've been practicing this together in Dharma sharing. We have a rule here, right, in Plum Village. When one person is sharing, we all listen. Because there's a culture that has been set up. If you interrupt, you almost feel like an outcast here. Because there's a collective consciousness, a way of listening, a way of being that have been set up here. And everyone is putting into practice this. But when we go home and when we go out of Plum Village, we all speak a little bit louder than each other so the other person can hear us. And it's because there's a feeling that collectively we are not listening to one another. And what we can also cultivate, this capacity of listening, is not just for the other, the loved ones of us, but to learn to listen to ourselves. And to learn to listen to the present moment. What does this mean? So in the present moment, if we are alone, we have the capacity and we have the time and space to reflect inwards. But when we are together with our community, with our loved ones, are we also listening to the people besides us? Are we listening to their body language, to their presence? Or are we only tunneling in and just listening to ourselves? In our practice of being, we begin with oneself, but we don't stop there in oneself. That's too selfish. Being is also to be with others. During Christmas Day in Upper Hamlet, the monks, we open our residence to welcome all the retreatants into our rooms. And we share tea, we share conversations. And a friend asked me a question. He said, "Brother, in this moment, I'm being triggered by a question that was asked towards you. But I don't know what to do now. So do I go inwards to take care of that pain and that suffering? Is that what I should be doing in this moment?" That's a hard question. And I shared to the friend after breathing. And I said, "Well, my friend, we all have suffering. Suffering can be endless. We can go down this rabbit hole. But look, you're sitting with me, you're sitting with my roommate, and you're sitting with these other 5 friends in the room. Don't you want to allow yourself to be present for also the friends that are here? And how about let your suffering that you just were able to touch in this moment be with you in the collective of others? Can you feel the joy of sitting here? Can you feel the love that is being shared in this moment of all of us in this room? Can you let that suffering bathe this energy and not just go down and look at it and dissect it and ask all the questions and go deeper into suffering? And in that moment, he let go. And he sat there and he breathed. And he took refuge in, taking refuge in the presence of others. So when we listen to ourselves, we always have an opportunity to ask, and in this moment, how would I like to be? Because being is the foundation of our actions. The way, what we are cultivating, loving kindness, freedom, peace, that's not just a notion, but that's a way of being. And if we can generate these freedom, and we can be in the freedom, in our body, in the collective, we have a new way of seeing and a new way of being. We can be in a very busy airport where stress level times 10. We're all pushing each other to get through boarding. I used to also allow myself to flow with that wave of like trying to get through security and then get through the gate and then waiting for my sign, my gate, no, not my gate number, but my zone to be called. The next time you're at the airport, meditate on this. I'm zone 5 most of the time. When zone 1 is called, first class is called, what comes up in you? There's discrimination. Look at our society. And then you have to wait all the way to your zone. So in that whole time, we're just fighting. We're fighting, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not privileged enough. And I caught myself one time, because whatever I'm saying is what I went through. This is everything that I go through at the airport. Inferiority complex, superiority complex, trying to be equal to the others, all of this. And I recognize I lose this moment of just sitting at the airport. I ain't got nothing to do, really. Then we all pull out our laptops, try to look important. I've done this. I'm like, okay, I gotta work for the Sangha. There's no time to waste, Got 80-something emails. Right? Where our mind is constructed collectively to not allow ourselves to be present and just to enjoy sitting there. And then when you're called up, that rushing energy. And I just realized, one day I had a realization, it was like an enlightenment. I was like, we're all gonna get on the airplane. They're not gonna leave us behind. We're here, I'm at the gate. I ain't gotta fight. And I can be peace in this moment. I can smile. I look at the friend behind me, you're in a rush, you wanna go before me? Some generosity. So simple, but so real. And I can be that freedom that I've been cultivating. I'm not being pushed by this collective energy. So being allows us to hold, embrace these qualities that we have been saying together, that we shouted out together. But it is only real, it is only a reality when we embody it. And that's why in our tradition, in the Plum Village tradition, embodiment is always at the foundation of all our learnings and training here. The insights, the Dharma talks, the understanding that we are able to harvest together. We also have to have the curiosity. How do I apply this into my daily life? And so don't also be too ambitious with insight. I know we come to Plum Village with a lot of questions, and we're searching for answers. But how about just allowing ourselves to be? The answers will come when they are ripe. And these are the big answers we're talking about, not the day-to-day ones. And allow ourselves to be present for the activity that presents itself. Allow ourselves to just to be, just to sit, just to walk, just to connect, just to drink a cup of tea. Because if we can't do it in Plum Village, it's a little bit harder out there. It's a little bit harder, but you can do it. You can do it. You can all be mindful ninjas out there, and nobody knows. But you're very mindful. You're very present. Because your way of being is changing. And when you are more attentive and more present, the doing will come. And the doing will come with the best intention that we can cultivate in that moment. But we have to cultivate this. It is not just a wishful thinking. It is something that we have to start right now, right here. So for us, when we speak about a prayer, we speak about a resolution, we speak about a vow, it's not one time we say it, or one time we write it down. But we try to apply it in every moment. We try to apply it right away, even if it's not fully blossomed yet. We don't wait. We are the conditions for these aspirations to become a reality. And that condition is to put it into action. And part of awareness, mindfulness, we will start to see, these are some habit energies that I allow myself to be in when these feelings arises. Let's speak on consumption. We consume in order to cover up a feeling that is unpleasant. And awareness shines the light. I know exactly what I'm about to do. But can we change? Can we say, today, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to doom scroll. I'm not going to look for something to eat. I'm not going to look for something to cover up that moment. And that is insight. Insight in action. Seeing is not enough. Seeing is a first step. But the insight becomes alive when we enact ourselves. To have the freedom from not being pulled by our habits. So when we listen to ourselves, we can hear these voices. We can see the pulling of energies. And by listening, we can see our tendency where it is heading towards. And from time to time, now that you know the story, you may hear the question of the Zen master, what are you doing? Now what are you going to do? Now you see, but what will you choose to do? And a teacher can only guide you. At the end of the day, it is still your choice. What you put in action. And those will be the fruit of the actions that we enact. So as we practice mindfulness, concentration, and insight, these three words up here in our logo, Smrti, Samadhi, Prajna, they can be a living practice. Every day we wake up, we can make a vow. I have 24 hours before me. How would I like to live it? That already is a vow. That is a question we ask ourselves. There is mindfulness there. Mindfulness, I got 24 hours. And the concentration is allowing us to look deeply at, now what will I be today? How will I be today? I may have a very busy schedule, but how do I show up in those busy schedule is still up to me. And the insight can manifest from our deep looking. And for me, most of the time, I try to invoke kindness whenever I see something that is not going as planned. And I've acknowledged that I'm very judgmental in the last few years. And every time I see something that is not to my quote-unquote standard, I get very sad. And I have a choice. I can be very sad, or I can smile and say, you know what, life goes on. And there's a friend who's here who was a volunteer in the Wake Up Retreat. And I taught all the volunteers how to invite the activity bell. And I grinded in them the rhythm, the 10 sound. Bong, 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 bong. Bong, bong, bong. But still, we still have 20 different versions in Upper Hamlet today. And I sat with him for dinner, and he reminded, brother, I still remember you taught me how to invite the sound of the bell. And today, how did you feel when you heard those 10 sounds? He knew I would be reactive. And because it was such a genuine question, I could have faked it. I could have said, yeah, I'm a Zen master, doesn't really matter. But I said, dude, I was so upset. I was so sad. I'm like, that's not the 10 sound of Plum Village. And it was really real. So a lot of times, I'm so sorry, dear friends, Upper Hamlet, lay and monastic, I love you all. But sometimes I get so angry. I'm like, who is inviting the bell? I need to go see it. And I choose, most of the time, I choose to take care of my anger. Because I'm trying to make everybody perfect. I'm trying to, and I see that makes me more bitter. But I'm still practicing to have the freedom and the kindness. So when I work, I say, brother, can I show you how to invite the sound of the bell? From a space of love, a space of wanting to help, not a space of judgment. Still got a long way to go, but I know I will arrive there. And I invite all of us to, as the year is coming to an end, but we are still here. You are still present in your foundation of being. What are the qualities that you can cultivate today, now, as a contribution to the collective consciousness and the collective culture that we would like to build together. There's something that I'm always like a mantra that I repeat for myself, and that is, we are enough. We are enough. We are enough. Every time I see the energy that's not coming from growth and transformation, but pushing to outdo myself, I'll pull it back. We are enough. I am enough. You are enough. And I think this is one of the gifts that we can offer to this generation, to our children, to our children's children. But we have to collectively cultivate it together, because the force outside is very strong. It's telling us that we're not enough. It's telling us, do more, be more. Not be more alive, but be more whatever the advertisement is giving us. And that industry has a lot of money and is very powerful. But in a spiritual setting, our wisdom can be transmitted from generations to generations. So what we are cultivating in this moment is more powerful than the advertisement industry. If we enact it, if we be it. Because that children learn directly from our experience. And each and every one of us learn directly from our way of being. We know that present time, there's still so much discrimination. There's still so much separation. And we all have separation inside of us. We all have discrimination inside of us. And there's also so much violence, war. And that violence is not just outside of us. It is also inside of us. And part of our being is not to push that away, but is to see, you are also here. And let me tend to you. Let me take care of you. So that we can enhance our compassion, our love, our non-discriminative mind. And in the being, we also have to talk about the interbeing. As us, each and every one of us, we can feel our own heartbeat. But in this moment, if we are mindful, we can hear the heartbeat of many directly from our own ancestors. From the heartbeat of the future that is even not here. Because in the three times, everything coexists, interconnects. Our present moment is embracing the past, but is also building the future. And in this moment of humans, we can go beyond humans also. We know that we need the environment. We are part of the environment. We're not separated from the environment. So our way of being, our way of eating, consuming, of enacting, has a deep impact on beyond the human form also. So when we live deeply our being, our present moment, it is the best contribution we can offer to the new year, which will become the present year, and which will become the year of yesterday. So we are all artists. We all have a paintbrush of actions. And the year that is coming is like an open canvas. And I hope that by our practice we can develop some new brushstrokes so that we can paint and draw our future together, but not to lose the depths of our present moment that we have. So let us not chase for a better you. You are here already. You are beautiful already. And we continue to develop our gardens, tend to our garden. And by that, we are threading in a culture of tenderness, of care, of vulnerability, of acceptance. And let us collectively shift our culture, bridge the divide, be the interbeing when we see that we speak of differences. Be a way to connect the happiness and the suffering as one. And this is a gift for ourselves, a gift for the history books that we're all painting together, and of the future that we are building together. Thank you, dear community. I hear asking, what are you doing in this moment? And I will answer to Thay, Thay, we are being in this moment. So let us all be present for our breathing as we listen to the 3 sound of the bell. Dear friends, please undo your legs, massage them. And friends, if we can give flowers to the sound team, today is a very stressful day for them. Also for all of the live streaming that is going on. And thank you, dear friends online, for joining us in this moment.
So, dear respected Thay and dear wonderful community, and dear Brother Phap, thank you so much for this wonderful last Dharma talk of the year, for more to come. And now we have a chance to